Oh, there's certainly, of course, a conversation to be had that a dick joke in Shrek.
That must be Lord Farquaad's castle.
Uh-huh, that's the place.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
Whether a kid understands that joke or not, there's certainly a conversation to be had that maybe that is too far. I grew up with it. I was okay with it then. I'm okay with it now, so I'm just going to disagree with you on that. But again, there's definitely room for an argument to be made that even that's too much. But regardless, this is not that. This is not that. There is a big difference between, well, this.
Bravo! You are the most worthless piece of primordial ooze I have ever seen! But I'll give you one chance to prove yourself. Try to overcome me!
How nice of you to join me, my little non-commissioned mamacita. You know, you've got some of the prettiest battle scars I've ever seen. Can I freshen your root beer?
And this.
Families marching 4 by 4, hurrah, hurrah. Trans members of this family all love each other so proudly, and they all go marching in the big parade. Come join the fun!
Right? There is a difference between SpongeBob living in Bikini Bottom and a cross-dressing transgender teaching your kids via a sing-along that to be asexual, pansexual, transsexual, to sleep with whoever you want so long as it makes you happy, that's totally normal. And it's not just normal, it's great. And it's not just great, it's brilliant. And it's not just brilliant, it has to be celebrated. We have to have a big parade about it. Yeah, there's a difference between those two things right there. There's a difference between this guy singing to your kids.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine?
And this guy teaching your kids how to read. And if you can't see the difference, then sterilization might be what's best for you, because you have no business raising children at all. And I know what you're saying. Josh, are you really suggesting that parents who take their kids to transgender reading hour don't deserve to be parents? That is absolutely what I am saying. Absolutely. Any person who lets a middle-aged burlesque dancer do a striptease in front of their children while teaching their children how to read Clifford the Big Gay Dog does not deserve to be a parent any more than the person who gives their 6-year-old a bottle of scotch or their 8-year-old access to their Pornhub account. There is a right way to raise kids. There is a wrong way. And exposing children, young children, to overt, graphic, sexual themes is now and forever shall be the wrong way to raise kids, period. God, I know I am starting to say it every freaking week, but this is crazy. This is insane. These are kids. That shouldn't matter. And you know, I have real sympathy. I have real sympathy for the real parents out there, the good parents out there who try to moderate what their kids are exposed to, who try to moderate what their kids are watching, and recognize that that matters. I have immense sympathy for them, because we live in a day and age where that responsibility seems to be outside of the parents' control to a certain extent. Because now, kids can go into the public schools and be fed the same messages and pornography on top of that. Now, I know you might have heard of the New York school, the Dalton School, elite private school, is having a bit of a scandal issue right now, right, regarding pornography or graphic sexual themes being exposed to young children. You might have saw that in recent weeks and thought, oh, you know, this is brand new. This has never happened before. This is not brand new. This has happened before. This has been happening for a very long time, actually. And I'm going to outline something here, and it doesn't always start out as overt as it is today, right? It starts out small. It doesn't always start out with Cardi B performing simulated lesbian sex acts on stage at the Grammys. No. It starts off small, and the far left toes the line little by little by little by little until we get to the Dalton School District. But where it starts is in 1994, or thereabouts, with books called It's Perfectly Normal, before it was updated again with an anniversary edition in 2004. Now, this book is in schools all across America and libraries in schools all across America. It is available for children ages 10 and up and helps teach about sex ed. Well, okay, well, I mean, that sounds innocent enough. Let's see what that sex ed looks like in this book. I mean, I know I comb my hair in the mirror like that every morning. Let's see another one. Men with men and men with women. It's perfectly normal. Oh, is it? Oh, okay. Masturbation is a form of safe sex, right? Are you freaking kidding me? Let's move forward in time a bit. Let's move to slightly more modern times. According to the Daily Wire, in the Leander Independent School District in Austin, Texas, children as young as 13 are being exposed to graphic sexual content in their assigned reading. And I know what you're thinking. The Daily Wire, conservative outlet, right? Speaking out against sexuality in schools. What are we actually talking about here? Are we talking about Johnny Bravo hitting on a girl? No, that is not what we are talking about at all. I took a look at one of the assigned books, a book called Out of Darkness. I read some of the pages from that book, and to say that this makes the racier moments of George Orwell's 1984 look like Sesame Street would be an understatement at best. Okay, I am talking about the graphic depiction of a 7-year-old girl being raped. Okay? That sentence hurts just to say. And that is one of many scenes and many sentences littered throughout this book. I'm not even going to read any of the stuff in this book. It is just evil. It is just evil. If you feel the inclination, like you want to see what's in this book, there are a few sample pages. I'm going to post the link to them in the description. All of our sources for each episode are always in the description, just in case you're wondering. And you can check it out yourself if you feel inclined. But it is just messed up stuff, right? So it starts out small, nice little picture book for 10-year-olds, and it moves up into graphic material years later, like this. And finally, we get to the Dalton School in New York City, right? Private school, very expensive. I think it's like $47,000 a year to attend. And what are they teaching your kids in this school? Well, let's look at the health and wellness teacher at that school, Justine Ang Fong, I believe it is. Fonte, Justine Ang Fonte, my bad. She showed her first graders, right, her class of first graders, 6 years old. 6 years old. She showed them this video.
Hey, how come my penis gets big sometimes and points up in the air?
That's called an erection.
Sometimes I touch my penis because it feels good.
Sometimes, when I'm in my bath or when Mom puts me to bed, I like to touch my vulva too.
You have a clitoris there, Kayla, that probably feels good to touch the same way Keith's penis feels good when he touches it. But have you ever noticed that older kids and grown-ups don't touch their private parts in public?
They don't?
That's right, Keith. It's okay to touch yourself and see how different body parts feel, but it's best to only do it in private.
Well, if private parts are so special, why do you cover them up?
Because they are private, silly.
That's right, Kayla, because they are private.
Hey, Squeaks, pass it.
Wait! Okay, I'm ready!
That is not biology, okay? That is not, here's a man, right? Here's what's in his body. Here's a woman. Here's what makes up her body. This is how it works. No, that is a secularist lesson on the morality of sexuality, and it completely strips parents of their responsibilities and their duties to teach and pass on sexual values to their children. And I know that sex has been made this cheap thing today. I know that the sexual revolution that started all of this in the 60s was sold with the idea that if you just free yourself, if you just liberate yourself, right, from the then societal constraints on sex, then you will find more joy. You will have more fulfilling relationships. Well, here we are, right? Are young people today more joyful than they were back then? The skyrocketing suicide rates seem to say no. Are relationships more fulfilling today than they were back then? Well, Tinder would seem to say no. What we have seen is an increase in shallow relationships brought on by selfish attitudes, right? Women going to bed with men right out of the gate because that is what society is telling them they have to do in order to enter a relationship and in order to keep a man. And men shrugging off their duties as men, which is to protect and cherish women, to protect and cherish a woman's beauty, whether they're interested in protecting it themselves or not, right? And they're doing it. Why? Why? Because society is telling them that those duties, that a man's duties does not matter, right? That consent is the only thing that matters. And that is an egregious lie. It is an egregious lie. Because shallow relationships don't bring fulfillment. And selfish attitudes do not bring joy. You know what does? Sacrifice, commitment, compromise, and a willingness to put someone else's needs and wants ahead of your own. All right? Those are the values that led the generations before us. All right? Those are the values that allowed men and women from all walks of life to achieve and accomplish wondrous and miraculous things, not just within their intimate relationships with each other, but in their personal lives, in their professional lives, and in their spiritual lives, to achieve wondrous and miraculous things in their house and in their community, with their spouses and with their fellow countrymen. And those are the values that we need to be passing on to our children, because if we don't, they will be replaced with secularist bilge. They are being replaced with secularist bilge. Okay? And it's not going to stop with a masturbation video to 6-year-olds. Okay? It never stops. The line keeps moving. And we need to move it back in the right direction. We have to say enough is enough. Unite. Organize. Find like-minded parents and coworkers and teachers. Form coalitions. Harass within the legal confines of the law your local politicians. Harass within the legal confines of the law your teachers' unions, your school boards, right? Get this crap out of there. Sue if you can, transfer if you have to, but do something. Because if we do nothing, right, then when the far left wins, it's not going to be just on the people who are preaching this secularist filth to our kids. It's going to be on everyone who sat back and watched the world burn and did nothing and said nothing. These are our children, okay? And that has to matter. Because it's not our innocence that's on the line, all right? It's theirs. And our children's innocence. That's what's on the line. Tomorrow is what's on the line. And in that spirit, we move forth. Who thinks they're better than you and doesn't care if you subscribe to their channel? Don Lemon, which is why you should subscribe to our channel today.